My name is Darryl T. Wiley, and I'm the CEO of FAME, Fund for Advancement of Minorities Through Education. The FAME Teachers Academy is an initiative that I'm genuinely excited about. As we embark on our 30th year of the FAME organization and our 10th year of our FAME Academy, it's really exciting to see that we're still trying to be innovative and initiative to address the education gap that exists for Black children in this country. And so we really hope that people will join us in whatever expertise and resource you can provide to help us see this dream come true of seeing more Black teachers in the classroom so that we can ultimately advance our communities and put them in a better place going forward.
Hello, my name is Lisa Owens, and I'm very excited to be the newly appointed director of the FAME Teachers Academy. The goal of FAME Teachers Academy is to recruit, train, and develop Black teachers to go and work in our partner schools, independent schools in the greater Pittsburgh area, not just to become teachers, but also to become leaders in those spaces. We want to increase the number of Black teachers so our students have mirrors of themselves at the school. I think it's really important that students see themselves in their teachers, that they have teachers who can relate to their culture, where they've grown up, the kind of barriers that they've had to climb to get to where they are. And I think that it'll be a win for all students, not just Black students in the space, but it'll also be important for white students and other students of color to see excellent Black teaching and to see the collaboration that will happen as the staffs become more diverse.
I would think after 20 years of teaching and then my research that I've done, I've learned it's important because the students have told me it's important. Like they have told me over and over again, seeing me being the only African-American teacher in my department for years on end, constantly trying to figure out a way to sneak to get to my room so that they can have a moment with me, which is so powerful when you see how important it is to them. So I've seen myself sacrifice lunch or really go above and beyond to make sure that I can address all of their needs. And if you're the only one that's doing it, it becomes exhausting. So for me, just from personal experience and then once again, my research and the student voice, it's because they have shown me that that's what they needed, and they keep telling me over and over and over again that they want to see more African Americans in their classrooms.
But I saw him 25 years later, and I told him, I'm an educator in part because of you. And I feel that pain now, that pain that you felt of kids feeling like it's not okay to excel. So the impact, I'm a teacher because of the Black presence in my elementary school, in my middle school, and even in high school. And I can't tell you what a difference it made in my life.
I was fortunate to have two Black teachers, if you want to say formal teachers. The one teacher I happened to have twice, which was in kindergarten, and I had that same teacher again in 6th grade. The impact was extremely powerful. Going into kindergarten, it made me feel at home in school. I enjoyed coming. You just felt the love from the person, and you felt that she was really there to spark your interest and let you learn and let you be yourself.
What influenced me, my decision to be an educator is I do not have a degree in education at all, similar to several other people. I think education is a calling, and it knocked on my door several times. When I graduated from college, I have a bachelor's in communications and rhetoric. So I thought I was going to be a newscaster. So that was my goal. That's what I wanted to do. Once I came out of school, I ended up working for the YWCA, and I did this program called Y Teens. And I would go into the community schools in the East End, Reisenstein, Westinghouse, Wilkinsburg, and I would do these club groups with the young ladies of color. So they realized I was completely different than anything that they were used to. And one of the things that happened over the years is I built relationships with these ladies, and they would start saying, man, we wish you were our teacher. If you were our teacher, we would learn so much more. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try it. So I actually went to Chatham, and I went into their teacher certification program. And going through that program, I realized, wow, we need so much for our children of color. So once I did get that teaching certification, I said the only two schools I ever wanted to work at were Peabody and Risingstock, because I knew there was a need there.
Imagine, we walk into a room, right? And we see that there are, you could walk into a room and you could say, you know what, there's only one man in the room, or there's only one child in the room. But imagine how it is, because that's how we self-segregate in our mind. So imagine walking into a classroom and you are the only, you don't see anyone that looks like you. I had one of our one of our FAME alums say to me very recently that, Mrs. Key, I identify as LGBTQ. And can you imagine being in a 5th grade class of that self-discovery and not knowing if there's anyone that I don't want to have, might not have wanted to have that conversation, but I would have known someone in that school knew what I was going through. So can you imagine as an African American student in this space, you don't know who understands you in a space that you occupy for most of your life.
The impact is, well, what will be happening is there's more flavor on the table, for lack of a better word. You have diversity. And when I'm not saying diversity in the bland way, where we're like, oh, there's different people here. You really have different things, different ideas, different ways of doing. As Lorena was talking about how she infuses different things in her classroom, I do very much the same. When you step into my classroom, you're not in just a math classroom. You're Ms. Walker's space. You're in our space that we created. And when you have Black teachers who are coming into the school building and who are in the community, it's different. You get a lot more than you bargained for in the most wonderful ways.
And the last thing I would suggest is mentorship opportunities. And it kind of goes with the professional learning and the peer support networks, but actual mentorship, like, hey, sis, I see that you're new. I've been here a while. Let's get together. Let's talk. How can we be thought partners together? How can I help you navigate some of the politics in this school, in these school districts, in these independent schools that we're in that you may not be familiar with because you've come from some other place. But I know the impact that mentorship has in my life, continues to have in my life. And I know the importance of those that I mentor, right? Because mentorship is forward and backwards for me, right? And so I think those are going to be some really important considerations as we think about bringing in folks. And even again, how we could think about strengthening those of us who are here today.
We create collaborations and partnerships with desired positive outcomes for all. Individual teachers who would be involved, our students who are always at the forefront of all of our efforts and our initiatives, while also understanding and realizing that there is great capacity to represent a very diverse understanding of communities. When it comes to learning, of intellect, when it comes to pedagogy, and when it comes to how we treat one another as well. If that understanding and that foundation isn't reciprocated, I think we can find ourselves in a very challenging and grave space.
I most recently had a Black teacher. Junior year was my first time. My math teacher, Mr. Jackson Strong, but I call him Mr. JS. Off the bat, me and Mr. JS clicked right away. Math was always kind of like the subject that I felt like I always had to try extra hard on. And he understood that, and he understood a way to be able to teach me. I was always going to him after class for like extra help, extra worksheets, and just like being super active in class, and kind of like being in a private school, you get a sense of like imposter syndrome. So you're kind of scared to like ask questions because you don't want to like misrepresent. There's only a few Black people there, so you don't want to be like, oh, like she's dumb, and like, like follow that type of stereotype. But like in his class, I felt more comfortable. I was like really like the active person in class. Many people told me like the only reason why they would even like get their questions answered is because I would ask. And he would really just help me like elevate my math grade, and I got straight A's in math that year. I feel like they're like a sense of role models. You're able to really see the person that's educating you and see that they look like you, and kind of trust the information more, if you will. Sometimes being in a private school, you feel like the curriculum, it doesn't involve you. You're kind of just there for like diversity reasons. But when you have like Black teachers and Black faculty, you kind of feel more like a collective and a unity within the school community, instead of kind of just being like on the outside. I did have another teacher, Mr. Goodwin. He was an art teacher, but I never really got to see him much. And the only other Black representation I did have was in the cafeteria. Mr. Stefan was like the head chef. And a lot of the other Black workers were like, serving food and things like that. But like when those are the only Black people that you see on campus and they're serving the white students, it kind of puts in your mind that you're kind of here to serve the school instead of here to represent yourself. So yeah, I feel like having more Black teachers and Black faculty and students will kind of, like I said, bring unity and community and make you feel a part of the Shady Side and be an alum.
We want the community to support this in several ways. So one is we ultimately have to receive funding. We need individuals, corporations, foundations to make contributions to support this effort. Not unlike any other project of real value, we have to put funds behind it. That's just the reality of it. And we believe that we have the formula and the history and expertise to make this successful. The other piece is that we need to make sure that the community overall understands and learns about this project, because we need them to direct individuals to us, right? Like we want to broaden this perspective outside of Pittsburgh. We want to recruit prospective and aspiring teachers from across the country. We also really want to lean on the expertise of many of the educators who already exist, right? Like we want those individuals to play a role as mentors in giving us advice on how to ensure that this particular program and initiative can grow to heights that will put many Black teachers inside of classrooms. And so we think that this can have a greater impact. While we are focusing on independent schools, we believe that this impact will eventually bleed outside of independent schools into all schools and communities.